He's a celebrity chef, an award-winning author, and an infamous eater of strange things from just about every single corner of the globe. Now, Anthony Boudrain is tackling his greatest challenge yet. Cooking for his daughter. Appetites is Bourdain's first cookbook in a decade, and much like the author, it is a mixed bag of uninhibited opinions, funny stories, and of course, great recipe ideas. Anthony Boudrain joining us now from our downtown Toronto studio. Good morning. Welcome to our program and welcome back to Canada.
Thank you. Good morning.
Where does Canada sit on the culinary landscape for you?
Better and better every year, and one of my favorite places to eat. I have a lot of chef friends up here and a lot of delicious food I love to get.
I'm going to press you a bit more on that. When you think of Canadian food, what comes to mind?
I have some particular favorites in Montreal and in Toronto that I keep coming back to. The Black Hoof in Toronto, and of course, Joe Beef and Pied Cochon in Montreal.
Tell us about your book. What inspired this cookbook?
I think it's a reflection of, I'm a late-in-life father. I've been cooking, what cooking I've been doing, it's been at home, cooking to the tastes of a little girl as she grows up. She's 9 years old now. So I'm kind of bringing to bear 30 years experience as a professional chef, over-organized, controlling, to the feeding and care of a small child and her friends.
And is that hard to do? I know so many parents, and I'm sure you do too, that have picky kids. Could that even be tolerated in your household?
Honestly, I think what worked for me is I let my daughter eat whatever she wanted. I didn't pressure her to eat out of her comfort zone. If she wanted to eat pasta with butter every day, fine. I just made sure, and it wasn't hard, to eat interesting things around her. And sooner or later, you know, she's a curious kid. She would reach out and say, I'd like to try that or give me that. And as a result, she has a very, very daring, extraordinarily daring palate now. I think had I tried to get her to try these things earlier, I might have turned her off. So maybe reverse psychology works.
We've got a picture of the cover of the book. The art is just incredible and apparently not bookstore friendly. What's the backstory there?
Well, two of the more conservative major chains in the States were just saw it as terrifying, and they insisted we cover it up with a plain white wrapper. You know, I don't know why. It's a very distinguished, beautiful cover by the great artist Ralph Steadman, who did all of the Hunter Thompson books, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail. I'm very proud of it, and I think it's a thing of beauty.
Indeed. So when you were a kid, your first taste of oysters apparently had you hooked on food. That's not really a texture or taste that many kids like. What was it about oysters? Do you still like oysters?
I love them, and funnily enough, my daughter started eating them at age 3 because they were pretty. She thought they looked cool. Wow. You know, I liked them because nobody else in my family had one and were kind of grossed out by them, and I liked the sort of the shock, you know, the shock value, shock effect of being able to eat one in front of them and seeing them recoil in terror. But of course, they're delicious, and you know, now they're sort of a really important, one of my favorite things to eat.
The recipes in this book are meant to be approachable. There is one recipe for chicken steamed inside a pig's bladder. Mm-hmm. Can your average home cook do this, Anthony?
Yeah,
really?
We make them much more approachable. We don't suggest you actually cook it inside a pig's bladder. Traditionally, it was. You could cook it in cheesecloth very easily. It's the most complicated, sort of exotic dish in the book. But we offer a fairly simple way of achieving it at home.
How often do you actually get to cook, given that you're on the road so much?
Yeah, I travel about 250 days a year.
Wow.
Whenever I'm home, it's all about the girl, and I cook her school lunch for her every day and try to cook her dinner. And then I take a month off in the summer, and every day of that month, my daughter makes all the major decisions as far as what we're eating, what we're doing, where we're going. It's all about her.
Sounds like she's got daddy wrapped around her finger.
She does.
How do you pick the places that you feature in Parts Unknown?
Well, I decide where we go on Parts Unknown, and I sit around with my longtime veteran camera crew, and we talk about where we'd like to go, places we're curious about, places where we think we might be able to make really beautiful television. places that we may have been before, but that we'd like to revisit and shoot in an entirely different way. We challenge ourselves to make each show we do look and feel and sound and smell different than the one before. And it's a creative enterprise, working with a bunch of other people who I respect and love working with and have for a long time. And we have fun doing it. I have the best job in the world.
And yet at the same time, if you read the introduction of your book, you talk about living on the margins. Have you kind of come to a place in your heart where you're comfortable with that, of not having that so-called normal existence?
I guess. I mean, if I look back on my life, all of those years that I was a professional chef, I was probably even more unlikely to have anything resembling a normal life. I was working 16, 17 hours a day and, you know, hanging out with a motley bunch. So, I mean, this is as normal as it's ever been for me.
Anthony Bourdain, so glad you were able to join us today. Enjoy your time to Canada and best of luck with the book.
Thank you.